8:37 a.m. Tuesday, December 11th, the meeting of the Oil and Gas Conservation Commission is called to order. Establish a quorum. I understand that Commissioner Nations, Commissioner Cooper, and Commissioner Farburn are on the line telephonically. Would you please say your names?
Dale Nations is here.
Bill Robin. Stephen Cooper.
And Frank Thorwald here. We have a quorum. Any conflicts of interest? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 2, discussion and consideration of possible decisions and votes by the Commission. Temporary abandonment status of Blackstone's State Number 4, aka ASLD Number 4 well. With respect to that one, is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I would like to make a motion that we dismiss our
Actually, Frank, before you do that, I want to just state for the record that there was an executive session on this motion at time of the Friday meeting of the Arizona Oil and Gas Conservation Commission, which may provide the explanation of why there is no discussion now, and that the matter in discussion was the previous July 2018 order issued by this commission to Blackstone Exploration LLC in regards to the Arizona State Land Well Number 4, and now the commission is going to have a vote in regards to that order. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you. I make a motion that we dismiss the previous order issued July 2018 for Blackstone LLC.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Before we have the vote, can we read the rest?
Okay. Well, that's the second motion. This is the first portion.
Okay.
That'll be the second motion.
Okay.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. The previous order is dismissed. Dale, I understand you have a motion. Do you want to state that?
Yes, and it's long and laborious, so stay with me. I move that the Arizona Oil Conservation, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
That the Arizona Oil and Gas Conservation Commission order of July 2018 for Blackstone be amended as follows. That the Commission grant Blackstone's request for a 5-year temporary abandonment status for the Blackstone State Number 4 pursuant to AAC R12-7-125 Section B. Item 2, that the 5-year period of time begins June 1st, 2018 and extends for a period of 5 years. Item 3, during the period of time that ASLD Number 4 is on temporary abandonment status, Blackstone shall ensure that no work begins on a temporarily abandoned or shut-in well until approved by the Commission pursuant to AAC R12-7-125 Section D. Item 4, that before ASLD Number 4 temporary abandoned status expires, Blackstone shall return the well to beneficial use under a plan approved by the Commission, permanently plug and abandon the well, or apply for an extension to temporarily abandoned or shut in the well pursuant to AAC R12-7-125 Section C. And the last part of the motion is that as part of the beneficial use plan under AAC R12-7-125 Section C, Blackstone shall incorporate the workover and testing operations as outlined in the geologic report by Christopher Sumner, dated March 16th, 2017, and submitted to Carmen Bonanno of the Blackstone Exploration Company Incorporated, specifically as to ASLD number 4.
Is there any discussion on this? Not hearing any discussion. Is there a second? Oh,
I got a question.
Yes.
Is 5 years, is that really necessary?
Hmm?
With 5, could we do 2 years, or could you guys do 2 years, or is that, you don't feel that's enough, or what?
Up to the commission.
does anybody wish to change the number of years that we grant abandonment status?
I think I'd like to stick with the 5-year
Well,
period, because otherwise we'll have to deal with this again in 2 years.
you know, the lease they're working on would expire on May 29th of 2012, which if you go back to the June date would only give them, that's only 4 years from the date of the well, and they would have no, unless they actually had it in production, they'd have no option for actually extending that lease.
Your lease expires what date?
May 29th, 2022.
May
Mr.
29th.
Chair, this is Stephen Cooper.
Yes.
May I speak when appropriate?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I would prefer that we stay with the 5-year limit. It's my understanding that we have other wells in a similar status in the geographic area. For uniformity and our administration of accounting on the status of these wells, I believe that the 5 years would be consistent with the other wells so that we would be able to adequately monitor that area.
Do I have a second then? Any further discussion? Then do I have a second on Dale's motion?
Mr. Chair, this is Stephen Cooper. I second that motion.
Okay. All in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anybody else? I say aye as well. Any nays? Any abstention? The motion carries.
Just for
Mr.
clarification.
Chair, I believe we may have lost one member on the phone.
Yeah, I'm not sure we may have.
Bill?
I think we did too.
However, I believe, this is Rick Zeiss from the Attorney General's office, I believe I heard 3 ayes, which would be sufficient under the quorum to pass the motion. May I inquire, again, a roll call to determine who was left off the vote? Commission Member Cooper? Are you here?
I was present and I voted on the motion, and I voted in the affirmative.
Dale Nations voted in the affirmative.
We're missing Firefox.
And you voted in the affirmative. Frank voted.
I voted in the affirmative as well.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. If you want to try to, I don't know that we worry about reconnecting him, but moving on to item 3, call to the public. Any comments from the public?
I believe there's an item 2 that talked
Oh.
about language. There was one last
Oh,
clarification.
yes, there was on item 2, applicable public participation language to include in all agenda announcements.
What section was that, Dennis? I don't remember.
That was the note at,
If we can wait just a minute, I believe Administrator Turner is going to pull it up on the screen, or if you can describe.
well, it's the added language about the public may attend an oil and gas commission meeting either in person or by telephone. By calling into the meeting, please contact the oil and gas administrator at least 48 hours before the scheduled meeting to make arrangements. This is in addition to what you folks voted on Friday about the note 1 and the note 2 to establish a 3-minute limit on call to the public speaking. This is just an additional thing saying if they want to call in, they need to notify the administrator 48 hours in advance, at least. It'd be boilerplate language for every public notice that I send out.
Any
Does this
discussion?
Does this require an amendment to what we did at the Friday meeting?
I don't believe it. This is Rick Zeiss. I don't believe it requires amendment. I believe it requires a vote on the Because we didn't pick this up in the meeting on Friday, it just requires a vote on appropriate notice to Dennis Turner as administrator if in fact you intend by attending by telephone. That way we need to set up the conference calling to ensure that it's available.
Any discussion on this?
Mr. Chair, this is Stephen Cooper. The proposed example, I believe that we met last Friday, would not have, the 48-hour requirement probably would not have covered a meeting such as this. Perhaps we should consider for a special or emergency meeting that we shorten the time frame to 24 hours on those meetings.
Any additional discussion? I like that idea, Commissioner.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So who wants to make a motion on this?
Mr. Chair, this is Stephen Cooper. I move that we adopt a public participation language included in all agenda announcements with the modification that in the event of a special or emergency meeting, that the telephonic participation requirement to give notice to the commission will be 24 hours as opposed to 48 hours.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a question before the second there. Commissioner Cooper, do we use the 48 hours on all other meetings?
That was the intent of my motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. We have a second on that. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries. Moving on to call to the public. Anybody wish to make any comments? Hearing none.
You're actually going to reissue for the Blackstone 4 well. You're going to issue another order to them. Is that my understanding?
The order has been approved. That was the vote. There will be a letter going out to them indicating that's the new order coming from the board. It should go out in probably the next 36 to 48 hours.
Okay, I would just like to make sure that maybe the land department could get copied on that. I think we probably will be, but
certainly, Mr. Dixon, we'd be happy to.
Thank you.
And the old order has been
Dismissed or rescinded.
dismissed. Okay, review and consideration of future agenda items. Is there anything anybody wants to put on the agenda for the future? Hearing none, moving on to item 5. Any announcements? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Jamie, did that answer all your questions?
Sure. Complete review of Friday's agenda. I did have a question for the...
Okay, just real quick, there is a letter going out, and it will discuss what occurred is there was a report from Mr. Sumner who indicated there was potential below 732 feet, and the thought is if we bridge off and cement that off, that we have effectively eliminated his ability to get to any potential below it. And Dennis has been very good at discussing this with a couple of other agencies within our state